So in some of the organizations that we see out there, they're ahead of the game. Some of them, however, have got a mountain of challenges and they're playing catch up during this period of transition. Could
Yeah.
you outline some of the benefits that discovery data could provide to such chief data and analytic officers?
Right. So typically we sell to a chief marketing or a chief revenue officer at an organization, but we do find more and more we are selling to chief data officers and chief data scientists. One of the basic things that we provide is basic contact information. So our database is very rich in all the email addresses for these advisors, phone numbers, the physical snail mail addresses, as well as information about how these advisors have grown over the past 10 years, for instance, how their AUM has grown, whether this is an advisor that an asset manager wants to reach out to or not. And so I think, one of the key benefits that we provide to CDOs is that ability to have that master data, that master contact data that you can bring in-house. Then on top of that, I think about this as kind of like layers and kind of layers of maturity. At the bottom, the bedrock is just having good quality contact information. That's your bedrock. And then the second layer above that is, okay, now that you have good contact information, your CMO and your CRO and their teams are going to need personalized information. So information about, for instance, if you're trying to recruit someone, it would be good to know what school they went to, if they play golf, what are their interests and hobbies, right? And that's where you go beyond just the basic contact information and get personalized information. And then the last layer I think about is really intent data, which is in the sales and marketing world becoming more and more the holy grail. And intent data really helps CDOs and CMOs by understanding what a customer might do in the near future. So for instance, if a customer was browsing about municipal bonds, or browsing about ESG related assets or ETFs, there is a high likelihood that that person might be willing to buy these sorts of assets in the near future. And so, I think about when I think about value for a CDO, it's really those three layers. It's the bedrock of having correct and accurate data for contact information. Then it's about personalization, and then having this intent data to kind of drive more real-time discussions at times when it's most relevant to engage someone.
Anytime you can create a better relationship with a prospective buyer who, what is the old story? People buy from people they like. And it seems that having those foundational information, the personalization and intent will help you get closer to your end destination. As I was on your website, I was looking around. I think that, Ian, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you've actually got a unique framework that can help executives understand a little bit more about how discovery data can deliver this. Would you be able to expand a little bit more on this framework?
Yeah, sure. So one of our core bits of intellectual property here at Discovery Data is our data frame process, as we call it. So FRAME is an acronym. It stands for fuel, refine, magnify, analyze, and execute. And what it is essentially, the fuel is the core data that we source. So for instance, we source everything from the SEC through to FINRA. We've got sources down at the state level where we have relationships with each individual state in the U.S. We have relationships with some of the territories within Canada as well to collect information as well from Canada. So the fuel is really the first part of our data framework. Then it comes to refining that fuel, the R in frame, if you will, which is where we start scrubbing the data. We start looking for any sort of mistakes or misspellings or any of those sort of validation issues. And then, we try to magnify the data, meaning, we try to take a closer look at the data and get a sense of, do the numbers look right? The AUM as self-reported, for instance, does that look accurate? Should we be reporting this or not? So we kind of magnify some of those things. Then there's an analysis portion where we actually create something called our growth factors and our advisor success levels. These are derived metrics where for each individual broker-dealer and registered investment advisor, we get a sense of how successful we think this individual could be in the near future. On a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being the highest, 5 being the lowest, is this person going to be an amazing advisor if they were to join your firm, or are they going to be on the lower end, right? So we do that sort of thing. And then finally, on the execution part of it, the E in frame, that's really about distribution. So we're able to distribute our data in a couple different ways. We do basic data feeds. We have some level of APIs. We also have our portal product, and we also have business intelligence tools that allow our customers to kind of slice and dice the data however they see fit. So we have a pretty robust process, as you can tell, this data frame process that we have. So it is one of our key differentiators, I feel, as a company.
I think a lot of organizations do get the benefit from actually being able to actualize their methodology in such a framework that you have done. So congratulations on that. I'm going to come back to maybe a little bit more about you and your role within Discovery Data. I noted that as their internal CDAO, that you're responsible for the data management and analytics strategy. So if I can ask, how do you kind of marry up or match up your internal need for the data management and analytics strategy with the overall Discovery Data roadmap? How do you manage the both, the intersection of both?
Yeah, right. So, I mean, we do have an overarching roadmap at Discovery Data from a product standpoint. The data strategy, the data and analytics strategy is really driven by our customers, first and foremost. So I am on at least half a dozen sales calls a week. Right. I meet with very many of our customers. Oftentimes I'll lead the discussion with our customers, with some of our largest customers. We're fortunate to have over 1,100 plus customers in the financial services space. And so I will often join customer calls and actively lead the discussion about, what's working, what isn't working, and what would you like to see out of the data, right? I think that drives a lot of the conversation. That's one way of looking at the data and analytics roadmap and kind of growing it. The other part is to kind of really look at where the proverbial puck is headed, to use a hockey analogy.
Yes, I love that. Yes, Wayne Gretzky, skate to where the hockey's going to be, right, or where the puck's going to be. I love that.
That's right. And you being from Toronto, I'm sure you would appreciate that. So
I do.
Proverbially speaking, we try to skate to where the puck is headed. And what I mean by that is, I always keep my eyes peeled and open about what are industry publications talking about. And right now, for instance, I'll give one example. In our industry, like I said, diversity and inclusion is hot, and it has been for this entire year, ever since the events that occurred last summer here in the U.S. And so I think financial services in general is waking up and saying, we need people with more diverse backgrounds coming in to advisor roles and coming into senior management roles. And so that drives a lot of my thinking as well as Chief Data and Analytics Officer, is that, there's a component of looking at what it is your customers want. But the other part of it is also, sometimes customers don't necessarily know what they want. And so you've got to understand yourself what the market dynamics are, and what customers will be asking for in the next 4 or 5 months. And so I feel part of my job is to kind of read the tea leaves and take some educated guesses about where product might be headed. And the other is to truly listen to our customers.